winter in Minnesota back in March of 2020. Still had snow on the ground at that point. And there is J.W. Johnson. Welcome to the semis, Aanik Lohani.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a great example, just how much pace, even considering the conditions. J.W. Johnson really doing a nice job already from the baseline. Kind of got snuck away there as he came to the kitchen. Nice shot from Lohani.
Aanik Lohani, born and raised in Minnesota. Looking at another statement win here over J.W. Johnson. Johnson, such a stout opponent, as you mentioned, Cameron. He began playing pickleball back in 2019, and he has taken this sport to another level. A nice passing shot for Lohani.
And you can see just how much topspin he had to create. He almost put so much topspin, he almost fell backwards as he was making contact with that last shot. But a really nice job, great deception and execution.
0-0.
Ooh, just caught the line on the feathery touch of J.W. Johnson. Looked like he wanted to call it out, went for the head scratch instead.
When you serve to the forehand side of J.W. Johnson, he hits this really flat kind of no spin ball. This one has a little bit more on it as he comes to the net, but at times he hits this flat ball, and it's really hard to create on your thirds against it. When you don't receive spin, it's that much harder to give spin, right? So whether that's backspin or topspin. So Lohani's going to be kind of challenged in that way. That's another good example into the corner.
Side out.
More often than not, J-Dub will kind of cut that backhand if he's on the return, so gives you a little something to work with if you're on your third.
J.W. Johnson, 21 years old, based out of South Florida.
Side out.
Sorry, he's 20, turns 21 in November.
Wonder what that 21st birthday is going to be like.
2-0.
Missed the Vegas opportunity just a month too soon.
Darn.
Side out.
Probably in Dallas. Imagine that. Back-to-back tournaments for us, beginning of the month.
0-2. Side out.
It's funny, I once called a tournament where there was an athlete who won the championship, and they usually like crack the champagne and drink the champagne. He was only 20 years old, and he just got handed a champagne bottle. He had no idea what to do with it.
Grape juice.
Point.
Aanik Lohani, another passing shot on the line of J.W. Johnson on that forehand side. Twice now we've seen that.
Yeah, and that's not easy to do, especially coming out of the middle, because
3-0.
your alleyways are so small in terms of those passing shots.
Point.
Miss for J.W. Johnson, uncharacteristic, shaking his head over to his coach, Mircea Murariu, over on the bench.
4-0. Point. Five zero. Point. Six zero. Side out.
Another good example, J.W. Johnson again getting kind of aggressive. We've seen him miss a couple of those first volleys. However, that pressure still can come away with errors on the other side of the net.
0-6. Side out.
Aanik Lohani gets the serve back and a 6-point lead with it. What a performance so far for the 23 seed.
Really nice ball striking from the baseline right now. He's also done a solid job coming to the net.
Side out.
It's wild to see him in terms of his ground strokes, just how much like secondary motion there is as he's contacting the ball and finishing each one. Just watch how his body finishes as opposed to how it starts.
Point.
Oh, that was a wicked drop from J.W. Johnson, a two-handed backhand. Hit it so casually, too.
1-6. Point.
Inside out, passing shot cross court from J.W. Johnson, finding his stride. Look out.
Gosh, I'm just thinking if he had hit that shot, maybe not in 90 degrees, what it would have looked like, because that thing had flames coming off of it. Beautiful inside out.
2-6. Point. Three, 6. Point.
J.W. Johnson climbs right back in. Now trails by 2 after climbing out of a 6-point hole.
It's wild to watch just how much power J-Dub can create because of how much power he can generate from his feet up to his hips.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch.
Point.
And then he buries that one. First we go inside out, then he goes down the line, inside in. J.W. Johnson, welcome back to the semifinal game, sir.
5-6. Side out.
And at times, too, it's more a little bit of a, we'll call it semi-open stance, right? Where he's not completely, but it's pretty wild to watch.
6-5. Point.
It's a beautiful passing shot from Lohani. Takes back a 2-point lead.
But you can see, I mean, from Lohani, he puts everything into every single shot. That's why you kind of see some of those kind of falling away motions after
7-5.
contact, but he has great control.
Side out.
And a flick of the wrist from that positioning. His wrist strength is another aspect of his game that's so strong.
It was an incredible flip right there.
5-7. Side out.
Side out for Lohani. Answering right back, gets the serve back.
Full flamingo.
7-5. Point.
Interesting, J-Dub went with two-hand backhand trying to kind of bunt that ball back. Several pros use kind of that bunt method, right? Where you limit the amount of spin going the other way. Annalie Waters one to do it so much, but oftentimes they'll use more spin in the game of singles on the returns.
Point.
Lohani back on top by 4. A couple of misses for Johnson. Is it more about what Lohani's doing right now or what J.W. Johnson isn't executing on his side?
9-5.
Well, I think a few in terms of the beginning, Lohani was hitting his spots.
Add another to that column.
Yeah, so he had a couple really nice passing shots from the baseline just like that kind of separated. Then there was the run on the other side from J-Dub where he started to kind of stick some volleys, had some nice opportunities up at the kitchen. So just like that, Lohani, though, has found his ground stroke again from the baseline.
Game point for Lohani, the 23 seed, looking to pull another upset. That ball took a very funky bounce.
0-0.
First, Aanik Lohani took down Julian Arnold in the first round, then Hayden Patrick in the quarters.
Side out.
Dylan Frazier also lost in the first round to Brandon Lane, the 26 seed. Another interesting upset. Hayden Patrick took down
0-0.
Federico Staksrud. That was the 15th seed, so bottom of the draw is up for grabs. J.W. Johnson looking to prevent that, and that is a good way to start game 2.
Yeah, it's a really nice shot from J.W. Johnson. on the return deep into the corner, then protecting that line, understanding that's the shortest distance.
0-0.
Aanik Lohani grabs that backhand roll.
That is just wild, the amount of pace he trusts himself to put on that, even at the kitchen line. That's such a short distance to the baseline, and he has been on point in terms of creating enough spin to keep that in bounds.
A missed return from J.W. Johnson gives Lohani the first point of game 2.
1-0. Point.
You got to go hats off to Lohani just in terms of the energy expenditure on every shot. There's so much pace, and it is not easy to do in these conditions.
That's a nice shot on that backhand drive / drop. What was it?
It's a hybrid, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
There's so much spin, so much pace, and the bottom just fell right out of it.
So much topspin. Nice point from J.W. Johnson, countering every attack from Aanik Lohani.
And for J.W. Johnson, that's actually like winning 2 points. The reason being is because, again, the energy that has been put out by Lohani, just volley after volley, having to chase a ton of work on the side of Lohani just from that point. And look, they're slowing it down. He's got to tie his shoe a little bit, so Lohani getting a chance here to catch his breath. I don't know. He doesn't even look winded, though. That's a little...
3-0 win, or lead, excuse me, for Lohani. The guy from Minnesota is used to the heat, apparently, here in Vegas.
That is just a textbook two-hand backhand volley right there from Lohani. Line to line.
3-0. Side out.
Nice shot from J.W. Johnson. A lot of pressure on that return.
It's a second one we've pretty much seen where he's nearly hit the baseline, just in the second game alone.
0-3. Point.
Looks as if J-Dub may be starting to attack just a bit more to the backhand side of Lohani.
1-3. Point.
Inside out passing shot. Saw that a couple times in game 1 from Johnson.
Yeah, and I love that. That's a great idea, just because that's going to be where he's most dangerous, is working around that backhand. Traditionally, he'll cut that backhand in terms of looking for a drop shot. So when he wants to create a little bit of offense, works around it and goes inside out.
2-3.
Lets it fly. Just long. Lohani takes back the serve.
But there's a good look at the JW backhand from the baseline, looking to drop that ball into the kitchen.
3-2. Side out.
J-Dub really successful right now, just in terms of his return on that forehand to the backhand side, really flattening that out.
2-3.
Those have been pretty expedited points.
Side out. Three, 2. Side out.
I'd be curious to see what would happen for Johnson if maybe some of those returns like that, for instance, going a little bit more shallow to the forehand side and stretching Lohani a bit more
2-3.
vertically. Be curious to see how he moves in that way.
Point.
Johnson ties it up 3 apiece.
3-3.
Needs this game to stay in it.
Side out.
Trying to find a point from the baseline, not the easiest thing for J-Dub. Was a bit on the defensive there.
3-3. Point.
Lohani stealing one away off the top of the net. Getting a little extra luck on his side.
Four, 3. Point.
Missed return.
I mean, that speaks to the amount of spin, though. That looks like it might be, you know, just an easy looping serve, but with as much spin as Lohani can put on that, it's a great example. It just pings off the paddle of J.W. Johnson.
5-3. Side out.
But again, in the second game, that's the second time now we've seen a little bit of that short return to the forehand side on the side of Lohani, and he's missed both of those now into the net.
3-5. Point.
J.W. Johnson, no faster hands than his.
And a great read from J-Dub. The last time Lohani had that shot on the forehand at the kitchen, he went back cross court, or attempted to. It may not have made it, but nonetheless, J-Dub was well prepared, shading towards the middle.
Johnson could tie it here. And he will. 5-all and a beauty of an inside-out passing shot.
Yeah, it's been all about that inside-out shot so far in this second game. Really, really nice job from J-Dub.
5-5. Side out.
A tough ball. That was great chase, and J-Dub trying to play one step ahead, instead goes line to line from that backhand side. But again, full chase was on, a little unlucky through the transition.
5-5.
He was trying to body him up right there. Do you see that? He was going right through the middle.
Side out.
Lohani not as clean right now up at the kitchen.
Yeah.
Several volleys kind of have now mounted in terms of errors in this second game for him.
5-5. Side out.
A steeper turn to the corner for Lohani that time. Takes the serve back.
5-5. Side out.
Man, missing serves. Not only do you give your opponent a chance to score points, but
Oh, he almost curled it in. J.W. Johnson just missed.
the second part of missing a serve is the mental aspect, because, and I know you know this, you have to earn the right to score points in the game of pickleball in this side-out scoring format, right? So it makes it so challenging, because you know you have to win two rallies just to come away with a point. And so mentally, the amount of energy that you know you have to go with is, man,
6-5.
especially in singles.
Seriously. So much depends on it.
Point.
Oh, J.W. Johnson had that .1, just misses into the net, and a 2-point lead for Lohani.
7-5.
Wide
Point.
for Johnson. Lohani
Timeout receiver,
3
8-5.
points away from taking this in game 2 to Lohani, looking to make a name for himself here in Las Vegas. Big response from J.W. Johnson. Where will he go from here?
That's a great question. I think one of the areas for J-Dub is going to be cleaning up some of the volley mistakes that he's had just in this second game alone. He's put himself in good positions. Now it's a matter of finding the right contact.
Side out.
JW Johnson's actually one of probably my favorite competitors to watch, because I always respect those that have an ability to limit their emotional output on the court.
He's so good with that.
He genuinely is, because when you think of some of the greatest athletes, not only there's a stoic ability, right, where they have so much internal fire, but I always appreciate those like JW Johnson who really have kind of control over those emotions.
To some degree, you have to have a short-term memory.
Well, and instead of your emotions kind of dictating your shot selection, which happens so frequently, at least I'll speak for myself, like when you're fired up, like you make poor decisions, but because J-Dub has the ability to kind of manage those emotions, makes them more disciplined on the court.
Side out.
Lohani got the point, but he still looked not the point, but the side out still looked disappointed about something.
I don't know. I think it's always funny when you come away and you're going, well, why wasn't I doing that earlier? So it may have been in regards to earlier play.
Side out.
Let cord bounce in favor of JW Johnson, down 2.
Six, 8.
Oh, so close, just wide for JW Johnson. Couple of inside-out volley rolls from Lohani.
Yeah, and actually that second one, he let it bounce. And at times you're thinking, ooh, that could be a little risky. You're allowing for your opponent maybe to come into the net or get themselves in a better position. But I like the pressure still added there from the kitchen, even off the bounce from Lohani.
Side out.
Stuck on 8 for now for Lohani. What is it going to take for JW Johnson to gain some momentum
6, 8.
here? Oh, wow.
Side out.
Yeah, and he's been kind of looking more to drop to the backhand side in the second half of game number 2, because Lohani is actually, look at this, he's kind of prepping for where those passing shots had been successful on the thirds from J-Dub, the inside out cross court. So I wonder if J-Dub might actually look to do the opposite, look to the forehand side if Lohani's going to continue to shade that far.
Six, 8. Side out.
Seems JW Johnson's a little bit out of rhythm on his
Time
side.
on server, 8, 6.
Missing shots he normally doesn't.
Side out.
A quick side out for JW Johnson.
6, 8. Side out.
Straight ahead on JW Johnson.
And that's tough right there. You could see actually JW just getting that one small sliver of sun coming right at his eye level. Watch this.
Yeah,
right
that's a good point.
They're really tough, but also important to note, J-Dub did look a little bit more to drop and actually move to that forehand side just in that last rally, as he does here as well.
Point.
And maybe that's why he's been staying away from it. You got to be kidding me. That's a heck of a shot from Lohani.
Wow, finally off of 8, too. He was stuck there for quite some time.
9-6.
2 points away from the Championship Sunday appearance.
Point. Ten, 6. Side out. Six, 10. Side out.
Long for Johnson. Match point number 2 for Aanik Lohani.
Ten, 6.
Oh, wow. Oh, what a scramble on both sides. Aanik Lohani tracked down some impossible shots, and then J.W. Johnson with a gutsy hold.
Just a couple miracle shots right there from J.W. Johnson. This lands, and he just swipes at it, gets the trickle off the top of the net, and then a second one.
6-10.
Passing shot. Now a 3-point deficit for J.W. Johnson.
Man, and it's so deceptive, too, because there's not a whole...
7-10. Point.
J.W. Johnson gets one more, makes it a 2-point game.
I like that he followed that drop in immediately, recognizing that had to bounce.
Side out.
Crucial side out for Lohani. J.W. Johnson gets one more, and he almost felt like he was going to take game 2. Now we'll see if Lohani can close it.
10-8.
Match point number 3. J.W. Johnson gets it back.
And it's interesting, before that last point, Lohani almost kind of barking to himself, just 1 point, 1 point. He kept telling himself. But one of the things that you shouldn't take for granted, and I know it's the game of pickleball, but his, to be quite honest, his serve was not very tough on those last few.
Goes right at J.W. Johnson again in that sunspot. As you mentioned, still in the eyes of J.W. Johnson. The 23 seed will take back the serve. You can tell the nerves are starting to accumulate.
10-8.
See, you can't let J-Dub just kind of waltz into the kitchen. And Lohani had been serving really well, and it's something that you have to have. And right now he's kind of just tossing these into the middle of the court.
He had to hit an impossible angle, and he does to get the serve back. No leverage for Johnson in that sequence. Lohani now with match point number 5.
10-8. Side out.
Right again.
Yeah, if he can find a serve right now that keeps J-Dub at the baseline, just one extra ball, right? Because otherwise, Lohani's having to come away with points, with winners from the baseline. That is not easy.
Inside out on the volley roll, apologizes. Might have caught the frame. Johnson stuck at 8 for now. Have another look. Aanik Lohani, can he close it out?
Side out.
So the call is wide.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Point. I didn't.
So
there's a
J.W. Johnson can challenge
this.
this.
At 11-8. We'll proceed to video review. After review, the call is overturned. The ball is in. Results in a side out. Mr. Johnson serving at 8-10.
That's Howard Hepworth, the lead referee.
And the conversation, look at where Howard is standing right now, looking to the left. He can barely see. It's really challenging, which is, he even noted himself. He said it's really hard to see into the sun right there. Looking to make that call.
Aanik Lohani will continue match point. What is it now, 7? 7 tries to finish off J.W. Johnson in the 23 seed.